What's up guys? Welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you'd like to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
I simply offered some assistance.
Oh, you did?
I wanted to delve deeper, but the party was in full swing. Ciel could still accomplish it tomorrow if it could do it now, so let's make the most of today. So I absorbed myself in the feast, putting off all my troubles until the next day. The next day was a day off for all of my officers. Although I felt awful for Rigard and the rest of the administrative staff, I had them check on the city's infrastructure and report back to the residents. Now that the city was back above ground, we needed to check if any infrastructure, like as the water and sewer systems, was affected. We'd let evacuees go back to their homes when we'd finished our safety inspections. I wanted our government to get the rest it needed after we had just concluded a tremendous war, but we also had to think about the lives of everyone else. When you think about it, isn't working for the government essentially equivalent to being a slave to the people? You deal with enough issues in your daily life, so taking a break is the first thing you do when an emergency arises. Now that Testarossa and her friends were helping out with the governing, things had gotten easier, but we still needed to hire more staff. And me? Since I'm a novice, my main responsibility is to review our paperwork and affix my seal of approval. If something appeared excessive for us, I would either turn it down or forward it back to the appropriate department for more review. Really, the only reason it worked was because I delegated all of the intricate explanations to Ciel. This structure would have crumbled long ago if it were just me. Even though it was the day following a large celebration, I still had a ton of items to review and approve. Since Rigard and his group were occupied running around the city, at least I wouldn't feel bad for being lazy. But initially, I made the decision to check in with Chloe before heading to work. Our eyes met as soon as I entered her room in our medical quarters.
Mr. Tempest, Rimuru.
You don't need to make such much effort to speak like an adult. You're still the same Chloe I knew before.
Come on. I'm as mature as you are, even if I may appear like a kid. I'm actually older than you, Rimuru.
I get that, but, well, outside appearances really do matter. I was starting to get really attached to the idea that, when a complete stranger sees me, they find me to be a pretty little girl after all. It's crucial to remember that careless remarks can truly bring ships crashing down. Even though Chloe was blushing and pouting at me, I told her how glad I was to see her safe. In response, she buried her face in a pillow.
Rimuru, it is so unfair.
Oh, what? What interpretation of this should I make?
Unclear. The question is too hard to answer.
I surely had no chance, if Ciel was unaware of it as well. In an attempt to console Chloe, I just murmured, okay. I waited for her to settle down for a time before asking her to tell me what had transpired during the battle and what the outcome was.
Well, I'm alright, but Krana and I are no longer able to communicate. The ultimate skill Sariel's nearly ran out of control, so she's holding it back from me.
That's right, she was being influenced by Michael's rule. It was almost like picking a fight with me, trying to seize control of something so valuable. Although I had previously viewed Michael as an enemy, I didn't feel that I needed to be merciful just now.
Now, how are you feeling?
I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what's going on because I can't handle Yog-Sothoth completely and Krana isn't here to chat too.
It sounded more serious than it seemed at first. Since the beginning, I hadn't been depending on Chloe's fighting prowess, but I suppose I fooled myself into thinking she could hold her own. Though I instantly regretted that thought, Chloe's safety came first in the current situation. I am now able to influence Kranoa as a Manas because I am allowed to interact with data particles. Probably, if I enter Chloe's spiritual realm and use skill alteration, I could undo Michael's influence. I see. In order for Ciel to act on her.
Chloe, I believe that by acting on your skill a little, I can make things better for you.
That won't work, Rimuru. Krana eventually stated.
We will never be able to stand on our own if we continue to rely on that person. In order to walk beside him, we must use our own strength to escape this situation.
She is right, thus I refuse to accept Rimuru's assistance.
Chloe spoke while looking directly into my eyes. Despite her childlike appearance, her own eyes were directed toward me, and I could picture the beauty they would have as an adult. It was more than sufficient to make an impact on me. Not that I'm at all into children. Well, let's just say that Chloe was really, really adorable. I decided to go elsewhere because I would soon be following in the footsteps of a particular blonde-haired demon lord, which would be a huge step down in my opinion.
That's okay, but do let me know if something comes up, okay? I will always be pleased to discuss matters with you.
I gave Chloe a head pat. She nodded slightly and smiled gratefully at me. Vester asked to see me right away since there was an urgent situation, once I got back from seeing Chloe.
How may I assist you?
I appreciate you taking time out of your hectic day to speak with me. King Gazel just got in touch with me.
Oh,
Vester remarked, pushing up his glasses.
Yes, as you may guess, he wants you to explain.
I was aware of it. The war had been massive, but I returned without staying to help clean up. I was definitely going to get in trouble for that. If it had only occurred within our borders, it most likely wouldn't have been an issue, but the Dwarven Kingdom had been engaged.
I see. Was he furious?
He appeared to be really unhappy.
Vester wiped the sweat from his face. It made sense. Just last night, we had been drinking together. If you give it some thought, Vester could also be at fault. I suppose he wasn't too concerned about the matter, and to be honest, it was difficult to hold him accountable for it, but he appeared to be taking responsibility for his failure to advise me. Nevertheless, I was the one who erred the most.
Please tell them that I will explain it later.
After all, you'll need to come up with a reason.
As Vester would have it, his sharp mind made him a great confidant. Regardless, before we could provide an explanation, we had to resolve our situation. Setting a date for the briefing was the first task I had to undertake. As a result, I would delegate the task of dealing with King Gazel to Vester. After gathering our thoughts, we made the decision to talk about the issue once more. Lunch break follows. I dismissed all those difficult queries from my thoughts. I suddenly remembered after indulging in my favorite fried chicken and yakisoba red bean noodles from today's meal. It appeared as though Ciel was working on something behind the scenes. Ciel stated last night that it had provided the executives with some assistance, and I felt it was important to ascertain exactly what it had done and to what extent it had assisted. It was likely that what Ciel had described as a little help was actually far more than that.
Well, I'm shocked to be suspected in this way.
Ciel starts making a comment the next thing I know. It was indeed a big affair, as I had suspected. The largest issue was, first and foremost, the unapproved alteration of my skills. The ultimate skill, Harvest King Shub Niggurath, was the result of that alteration. Yes, a report was sent to me. After Velgrin's skill alteration was completed, I was told that the fragments of Covenant King Uriel had been incorporated into Velgrin's Charity King Regule, and that its essence had been inherited by Harvest King Shub Niggurath. I didn't pay attention to the explanation at the time since I was too preoccupied with Velgrind. The ultimate skill, Harvest King Shub Niggurath, was thoroughly explained to me as I read through the texts. This power was like the solidification of the link between me and my subordinates. Skill creation. To develop new skills based on the data acquired from food chain and analysis. Skill duplication. To duplicate an acquired ability. Skill gifting. The ability to replicate a skill and bestow it on the appropriate recipient. Furthermore, you can take it back. Skill storage. Acquired skills are turned into information and instantaneously reproduced. Well, that's the reality. Since a person's soul had a finite capacity, there was a limit to the amount of skills they could acquire. For this reason, some skills were associated with the body rather than the soul, even if their apparent willpower was weaker. Since I possessed 4 ultimate skills, my capacity was obviously becoming overloaded.
It's not 4, it's 5.
Oh yes, you're correct.
I gained a new skill, the ultimate skill, Scorch King Velgrind, after taking in and analyzing Velgrind to make her resemble a similar type of living entity to Veldora. Yes, at the time I was probably well above my limit. I suppose Ciel moved Uriel to Velgrind since I was getting full.
Yes, precisely. I was forced to maximize your abilities to the fullest extent possible.
This was quite suspicious. Was Ciel considering skill collection to be a hobby? In fact, I noticed this pattern way back in the Great Sage era. Right now, my space was filled, yet I didn't want to let anything go. Was that the reason you pushed for this evolution?
Permit me to elaborate on this.
It shifted the conversation. It felt much more human after changing into Ciel, but it also appeared to be acting much more like a reckless freak. But no, it is all okay. Is it not okay? I prayed to myself, please be okay, as I vowed to put my trust in Ciel. Anyway, Shub Niggurath had been designed to oversee this process, and as Ciel described it, all the numerous skills taking up unnecessary space in my soul had been disassembled, digitized, and streamlined for maximum efficiency. With this power, I could now control every monster that was specifically related to me through the soul corridor and give them skills. The absurdity of this power is, I believe, obvious. Shub Niggurath was now being used by Ciel to help a bit with Benimaru and the others. Since we would have lost much more if this hadn't happened, it was difficult for me to be dissatisfied. Actually, I made the decision to express my gratitude to Ciel.
Not at all. I did nothing but carry out my master's orders.
Although Ciel and I had spoken a lot, it truly did assist me. I thanked it again and said, "Keep up the good work." Ciel's explanation helped me understand what had changed for everyone in general. It was imperative that we strengthen ourselves because Michael and the Phantom King were our foes. That did not, however, imply that we should give everyone the greatest power. Too much power has the potential to destroy itself. I believed Ciel when it said that. I didn't think it was going to accomplish anything too extreme, even if it was still really fond of remodeling skills. It didn't suppose it would provide skills to people who couldn't utilize them, but it seemed vital to confirm it. Ciel asked me as I was considering this as if it had just remembered something.
Master skill alteration has been postponed. By the way, do you want to carry it out?
I had totally forgotten about it. Ciel appeared to be growing agitated. It seemed as though it had been looking for something and had at last discovered an even more fantastic modification. It had stated, if I remember correctly, that the ultimate skill, Stellar Wind King Hastur, could be created by combining the ultimate skills, Storm King Veldora, and Covenant King Uriel. However, I later donated Covenant King Uriel to Velgrund, so it's possible that it's been altered since then. It was not expected to be any weaker than previously because it was Ciel. In the first place, it had most likely previously examined Charity King Regule, even if I hadn't heard of or gotten any report.
Naturally.
As I had anticipated. Then, it was the same as possessing 6 ultimate skills. Furthermore, I had been offered power from the food chain through the evolved executives, implying that Ciel required the Harvest King Shub Nigarath. Since mastery of a greater number of skills does not guarantee mastery of all of them, integration made sense. Scorch King Velgrund, and Gluttonous King Beelzebub seem like they could make something together. In addition, I had some worries regarding what had become of the Wisdom King Raphael, following Ciel's birth. I had no reason to stop Ciel from optimizing the stack of skills it had saved. I see no issue because we are not currently engaged in combat.
That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for always watching my videos and supporting my channel. A big thanks to the AnimeKouhai patrons who made this video possible. Jared Bressler, Chad Vota, Chris Guzman, Havox, Speed Saber, Arijit Das, Curtis Loban, Judah Herrera, Just a Guy, Misael W. Hernandez, Zach Rossan, Jarius Ladek, Alfonso Smith, Donald Williams, Moab A, Day of Light, John M, John Charles, Godman Gaming, Markithian Tidwell, Andre L. Hamilton, Adrian, Kumo, Sanketh Chelu, T. Bush, John L, Edgar Fuentes, JV, Dirty Old Hobo, Thomas, J, Christ, Juan Ignacio, Joshua Cousins, Jose Hernandez, Vethelny, Lunel Scarlett, Khaled, Christian Deshazer, Cal Robs, Divine C. Harris, Panda Cats, Aaron Alarcon, DeAndre Nance, James Waters, Monty Boy 98, D-Man, Ruben, Luis Caro, Yuki Iki, Pedro Robles, Chris Jr., Isaac, Koala King 93, Little 95, Coyote de Peza, Quilly Buckner, Zephyras, Alver, Normal Defate, Joshua Andrade, L, Gary Miles, Dragon Spawn 666, J Rule, Sayonori, Liron Sangkap, Jason Martin, Christopher Mash, Echo Ski, Foolish Prophets, Ethan Madison, Charles Bailey, Sky T, Diego Ginoza, Nick H, Andre Hamilton, Jason Torres, Sesh, Guy Ansley, Simon Road, Emperor WSA, Mika Espinosa, George Hage, Pratik Bandari, Arod Dare, Faiz Mansour, Deriha Skerte, Jackson Early, Carl Stephen Bernadal, Gareth Hashimoto, Steven Madison, Homelike Drop, Nasir, Mam Wang Min, Vasto Lord, Martin Ramos, Marl Barsha, Aditya Vyas, Hansel Ortega, Efrain Hernandez, Luca Gaming WTF, William Locke, Jordan Mersha, Bismarck Munoz, Arion Booker, Kamal Luke, Wei Jun, Alvin Quarty, Stone Larone, Steven, Mose Choudhury, Jacob, MTU STP. Thank you so much for helping out. I'll see you guys in the next video.